Hi, fans of high quality entertainment. Today, I am going to tell you my 10 favorite rock bands of all time. And I'm actually, when I do videos, I never get nervous or whatever. But for some reason, I'm a little on edge. I'm a little nervous because I'm taking this seriously, believe it or not. And it took me a while to make this list because believe it or not, there are a lot of bands that I love. And so it took me a while to rank them. And also, I made a Spotify playlist with 5 songs uh, from each of the bands, and just in case you haven't heard a band or two or three. So the Spotify playlist will be in the pinned comment below. And just please remember, these are just my favorites. I'm not saying they're the best. These are my personal favorites. I think in the past I put top 10 best rock bands, and that kind of got me in trouble. So this time I'm making sure I put favorites. So some of the great bands that I really love or like a lot that did not make my top 10, and some of them, it hurt. They include Genesis, The Clash, Creedence Clearwater Revival, The Guess Who, The Doors, The Monkees, Pink Floyd, Queen, Rush, Black Sabbath, that one hurt, Alice Cooper, the Alice Cooper Band, Talking Heads, Devo, Sex Pistols, Ramones, Canned Heat, The Kinks, Steppenwolf, Jethro Tull, and I could go on for the next, half hour listing bands that I really like a lot or love. So here we go. So we'll start with number 10, which is Captain Beefheart and the Magic Band. Uh, you know, I consider, Captain Beefheart, it's kind of difficult with some of these because Captain Beefheart was kind of known as a solo artist, but he also, of course, always had a great band, the Magic Band. So I'm just combining his whole career because, all of his albums listed the Magic Band. So I consider Captain Beefheart to be a band. And they're at number 10. Uh, they almost could be higher. The only thing is there are certain albums of his or theirs that I don't like as much as other ones. But the ones that I really love, I love a lot. Like Clear Spot and Bat Chain Puller and Dock at the Radar Station, all of those, and Safe as Milk, of course. And yeah, so he's at number 10. And as I've mentioned, there's a Spotify playlist with 5 songs from throughout his career. Just, some of my personal favorites. Not, and with some of these artists, it's not always the big hits that I've included. They're just, like I said, some of my favorite songs. Number 10. Next is number 9. Grand Funk Railroad. Yeah. Once again, it's their early years that I love. I kind of gave up on them after Shining On, and then, they still made a few more albums that I have all of them, but it's the early years that I love, and yeah, just one of my all-time favorite rock bands. And as some of you know, I had the honor of interviewing Mark Farner on my channel a few months back. And if you haven't seen that interview, please check it out. Number 8. This was really difficult because I wanted to include, at first I was going to include Lou Reed's solo career, and then it would have been much higher in the rankings. But I thought, no, no, I'm going to stick to bands. So it's just the Velvet Underground years, and the only reason they're so low for me is they only made 4 albums. I know there was a fifth with Doug Yule, but that's kind of just a solo, Doug Yule solo album. But those 4 albums for me are perfect. I love each and every song. And like I said, if they'd made more albums, they would have been much higher in my rankings. But yeah, Velvet Underground are one of my all-time favorite bands. And then there's Lou Reed's solo career. Number 7, Blue Oyster Cult. And, some of these bands like Grand Funk Railroad compared to Blue Oyster Cult, the reason Blue Oyster Cult is higher is they made more albums and they probably have more great albums compared to Grand Funk Railroad. They just made a lot more albums. And I basically love their whole discography. Some albums are just good, but for me, there's no bad albums. And the early years, once again, are just amazing. Don Buck Dharma Rozier is the guy there in the middle, is, I feel, one of the most underrated guitarists in music. But the whole band is just, so talented. The Bouchard brothers, Eric Bloom, Alan Lanier. Yeah, Blue Oyster Cult at number 7. And once again, I made the Spotify playlist and I did not include Don't Fear the Reaper. I just chose other songs. Not that I don't love that song, but it's so well known. I picked other songs for the playlist for you to hopefully check out. Number 6. Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. Once again, with Lou Reed's solo career, even though he had a band, it was labeled Lou Reed. But with Frank Zappa, for quite a few years, it was Frank Zappa and the Mothers, or Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. So I'm including his whole career, even his later solo years. But he always had a band, of course, and a great band. And once again, it's because they released so many albums. And I love not everything, but throughout his career, his early stuff, the stuff in the middle, and even his later albums, like The Man from Utopia, I love. So he is at number 6, and he's also, for me, one of the greatest guitarists of all time. And, his band members, he had so many great musicians in his band. So he's at number 6. Or they are at number 6, I should say. Number 5. Yeah, this one, I even though I have quite a few, Rolling Stones albums and I love their music, I'm not like a huge fan of the band. But at the same time, when I really think about it, they have so many songs that I love. Mainly from the 60s and the early 70s, but like I said, there's like probably hundreds of songs of theirs that I love. And so I had to include them. I might listen to a band like The Clash more than the Rolling Stones, but I just have to respect the Rolling Stones for what they've done throughout the years. And They are at number 5. Number 4. Yes, it's Yes. Now they would have been a bit higher, but like I said, I took this really seriously, and I really thought it over. So for me, I'm a fan of Yes, the John Anderson years, even though Drama is great too, which did not include him on vocals. Uh, there's certain albums of theirs that I just absolutely love. Even the ones that some fans don't care for, like Tornado or Tornado, I love. Tales from Topographic Oceans is one of my all-time favorite double albums. Uh, Even their later albums like Magnification and Key Studio, I love. John Anderson is one of my favorite singers. Steve Howe is possibly my all-time favorite guitarist. Chris Squire, amazing bassist, as everyone knows. Just one of the greatest bands ever, and they are at number 4. But this band at number 3, even though they made less albums, after thinking it over, I had to put them at number 3. That's right, Led Zeppelin. This, Physical Graffiti, one of the greatest albums ever. And then I absolutely also love, 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Houses of the Holy isn't one of my favorites, but I still do love it. And then Presence and In Through the Outdoor are, for me, a little weaker than the earlier albums, but I still, love them. And they were just a amazing band live, too. Jimmy Page, what a great producer, guitarist. Robert Plant on vocals, John Bonham on drums, and of course, John Paul Jones wasn't too shabby either on bass and keyboards. So yeah, I had to put them at number 3. One of the greats. Now, number 2, this is why I wanted to do this top 10 list, because it kind of hit me a few days ago. It's like, they are my second favorite band. I've got to admit it. I've got to say it. I've got to tell people. Sparks are my second favorite band. And in the past, I sometimes wouldn't even consider them a band, because the focus, especially the last few years, has been on the brothers, Ron and Russell Mael, but they've always had a band. Molly and I just saw them in Toronto last week, and they had a great band behind them. They have a great band playing on their albums. Like Ron Mael isn't playing the drums. So I still, I'm realizing now, even though, like I said, it's focusing on the two brothers, Sparks are a band. And if they are a band, they are my second favorite band of all time. And also through the years, even lesser loved albums of theirs, like Terminal Jive and Interior Design and Music That You Can Dance To. In the last few years, I have a new appreciation for all of the albums. And I just think they have such an amazing career. If you haven't heard anything by Sparks, I hope you check out the playlist. Definitely check out the Edgar Wright documentary, The Sparks Brothers. And once again, I want to thank all of the viewers that, because I did videos in the past talking about them so much. And some of you became fans. Some of you became big fans of them. And so it means a lot to me. So thank you. And yeah, I'm very proud to say, for me personally, they are my second favorite band of all time. I'm going to cry. I wonder what number one is. It's the Beatles. Yeah. For me, and for many, many others out there, the Beatles can't be beat. The Beatles, for me, I mean, there are the Beatles. And then all the other bands are down here. Even Sparks, they're down here. Sparks are at the very top. Sparks. The Beatles, see? Ugh. Going crazy here. Yeah, the Beatles. They did it all. When you look at their career and how few years they were together, making great albums year after year, sometimes more than one album in a year. And, you know, from I Want to Hold Your Hand to A Day in the Life to Revolution Number 9, which, of course, some people hate, but I think is amazing. Yeah, there's not one single Beatles song that I dislike. I love them all. And so the Beatles for me will always be number one. And that is it. I would love your thoughts in the comment section below. And maybe list your top 10 favorite bands. Thanks for watching and have a great day. And I hope some of you check out my Spotify playlist. Bye.